Amigos de Seattle Radio. Amigos de Seattle Radio.
Hello. Testing.
Hello.
All right. Christian, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yes, we can. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Welcome to our Radio for DRCC. Our name is La Voz de la Justicia. Today, we are starting a little bit late, so we apologize for those technical difficulties. But we do have a guest speaker here with us today. Christian, we cannot see you, and we would love to see you.
You cannot see
there
me?
you go. There you go. We see you now.
Hi.
All right. Let's welcome Christian to the radio. Welcome, Christian. I believe this is your second time here.
Yep, I'm basically a vet now. Little pro.
Of course. It's always nice to have you here. Do you want to just tell folks again your title at DRCC?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am in communications, and as I work as a policy analyst for the Duwamish River Community Coalition.
Awesome. All right, folks. Well, today we kind of wanted to talk about a really important subject, which is one of my favorite, the Duwamish Waterway Park. Is that correct, Christian?
Yep, Duwamish Waterway Park updates, slow but steady updates.
All right. So for those of you that don't know where this park is, it is located by the river, the Duwamish River, right in South Park. It is one of our beloved parks in the area. Christian, do you want to tell us a little background about why this site is important to us right now?
Well, I think that the site is really important to us in South Park because it's one of the few parks we have. Anybody familiar with the area knows that we have less green space than the rest of the city of Seattle. I think something around, in the 40 to 50 square feet per person range in terms of green space for those living in the Duwamish Valley, while the rest of the city enjoys something closer to like 300 to 400 square feet per person. So it's a really important park. It's the only riverside park in Seattle, and it's a beautiful spot. It's a lovely area that I think that I know I've been using my whole life. My kids go there, and I think that a lot of people use it very heavily.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you for the summary of what part we're talking about. Christian, we do have some folks watching us on Facebook Live. So shout out to those folks. If you do have any questions for myself or Christian, please let us know in the comments. You could also email us separately and privately if you wish to. We will share our contact info at the end of this live video. For those of you that are listening, we will also provide some contact info if you have any questions. We are continuing to have some camera problems, Christian. I'm not sure if your camera is off.
It says that it's on. Let me...
All right, now we see you again. So I don't know why it's doing that.
Yeah,
Whenever you touch the screen, I think you pop right back up. But we could see you now. But okay, let's continue. So, Christian, I know for a fact, I have a big history with this park myself, being one of the youth corps actually that was working on the design of the Duwamish Waterway Park. And not to reveal my age or anything, but that was quite a bit ago, about approximately 10 years back in the day. Do you know why it's taking so long to continue this process of the cleanup of at least the Duwamish Waterway Park?
Yeah, it's a really complicated process, for one. I think the fact that the physical property is owned by the Port of Seattle and the City of Seattle. It's been managed solely by the City of Seattle since the 70s. But I think that, the answer to your question is kind of complicated. I think that, frankly, the city and the state tend or have in the past neglected this area of the city. And so I think that it has been difficult getting the attention of policymakers and the people in charge. I think another problem is just the complicated nature of the site. It's right next to a Superfund site. There is a variety of laws, including the Model Toxics Control Act, or MOTCA, that govern how that process has to unfold in terms of the cleanup. And so what happened was that the city of Seattle entered into what's called a voluntary cleanup process with the Washington State Department of Ecology. And unfortunately, that process did not work for the park. They moved through what was a remedial investigation and a feasibility study for the park. They sent their testing data to the state ecology department, and the Department of Ecology felt that the sampling and the data was incomplete, and that there was a potential threat to the river from stormwater and water runoff. And so they're going to move that process into the state's formal cleanup process. And so after all of that work that was done by the city independently with their contractors, the state has decided that it's insufficient, and they're going to have to go in and manage that process. So it's really unclear at how much longer this will take, but it has been well over a decade at this point.
Yeah. Really unfortunate for those of us that are really waiting for that park. I know, Christian, you can we talk a little bit about the community engagement in this process of the cleanup? And again, just wanted to say this: the cleanup of the Duwamish Waterway Park is not the same thing as the Duwamish River cleanup site. A lot of folks I've been hearing are talking about, we already have a lot of questions about the cleanup process of the actual Lower Duwamish Waterway Superfund site, but this is a totally different cleanup site, which is a park that's next to this Superfund River site. So just wanted to really say that slower in the way where folks could understand the difference. And now we could actually talk a little bit about what type of community engagement, what type of opportunities for community there is for them to talk about, the process of this cleanup of the Duwamish Waterway Park.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really important process, because I think it's really important for ecology and the city of Seattle to hear from community and to be connected to the people that use the park. So now that it is in that formal cleanup process, that's dictated by the state law, the Model Toxics Control Act, there will be very regimented and predictable comment periods and public engagement periods held by the Washington State Department of Ecology. We just had one on the 8th in person and the 7th online. And there is something called an agreed order, which was just released. And that is basically a legal document describing who the liable parties are and what their responsibilities moving forward will be in terms of this cleanup. And there is a comment period that is open until March 15th for the community to read the agreed order and comment on that agreed order. We have comments. We will be, the DRCC, will be writing its own comment letter and submitting that, and we'll release that on Facebook as well. But yeah, moving forward, there's going to be prescribed comments and engagement periods as we move through each step of the Model Toxics Control Act's cleanup of this park. Right now, they're kind of moving into, out of a site hazard assessment stage, and they'll be moving into the remedial investigation and feasibility study, which is basically where they're going to go in and they're going to test new parts of the park and retest some old parts of the park They won't have to retest the whole thing, is my understanding. But after or during that stage, there will be another public engagement period, and there will be in each phase or stage, for the most part, a public engagement opportunity.
Mm-hmm. All right. So for folks that want to do a public comment, how can folks do that, Christian? Is that directly through us? Can they do their own comment letter? If they need assistance with that, do you have any tips or any references for that?
Absolutely. So if you go to the DRCC website, we have kind of a 101 on how to make a public comment, why they're important. The Department of Ecology's website hosts where you would actually formally submit that. You can do that online. You can write a physical letter. You can also contact the site manager, David Butler, or Ian Foley. Both of those emails are on the DRCC website, will be linked. And you can just email them directly. You can also make public comments at the in-person or online meetings, but those public comments aren't submitted to the record. So if you want your feelings and your voice submitted to the official record of the Duwamish Waterway Park cleanups formal process with the Department of Ecology, you do have to write a formal letter. And yeah, that's linked on our website, DRCC.
All right, perfect. I'm trying to share my screen really quick for those of you that are seeing us via Facebook. This will allow you, and let me know, Christian, if you could see my screen as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. So once you go to the drcc.org, I like to walk people through because I myself, after going through this website, I always get lost as well. So what you want to
Yes.
do to find how to make a public comment, you want to go on the tab that says resources. Under this tab, you have a list of a lot of things that you can look through, but what we're looking for public comment today is all the way at the bottom. Once you select that how to make a public comment, this page that Christian was referring to pops up with links where you could provide your comment. There is a tab here for this comment period that opened in January 30th and will be ending on March 15th, which is on the Duwamish Waterway Park. We obviously do have different other public comment periods as well, so you could definitely feel free to navigate through this page to learn more and to also learn about how to make a public comment. But I just wanted to go ahead and point out how to find this page, as it could be really complicated sometimes. And then again, we have several links to different information. As Christian was mentioning, it links down to the Department of Ecology. So that's out there. There is different languages. So if you speak something else other than English, as Spanish, I guess it's Vietnamese, Khmer, Somali, and I can't tell if it's Chinese.
There's
But
Amharic and
Mhm.
Amharic and it looks like Mandarin Chinese.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Well, here are a couple languages. Just again, wanted to share that. Thank you, Christian, for giving us that info. And then one more thing that is really important is also the fencing. So now that we're talking, and fencing has been a really big topic in community within each other to discuss what occurs and what is currently occurring with fencing. Christian, do you want to talk a little bit about why we had fencing in the area and why it's currently down in some spots and still up in others?
Yeah, absolutely. So the fencing actually was originally put up to protect the park from use while they restored habitat, and it just kind of ended up staying up. And now that we have really begun this formal process and we have ecology managing that process, the DRCC has been able to reach out to the city of Seattle and ecology, and we managed to get that fencing taken down so that the majority of the park is everybody believes is safe to use, and really the threat right now is a source control threat to the river in terms of repolluting that Superfund site that the park is adjacent to. So as long and there are tips on the park website and ecology website on how to stay safe using that park. But for the most part, it's safe and the fencing has come down. There are a couple places in that park where the fencing remained up, and the city of Seattle did that out of an abundance of caution until there's more testing done. It's not because they believe it's unsafe, it's just that they have not characterized those portions of the park to the degree that would make everybody feel comfortable. And so where there is still some question about the toxicity and the presence of things like arsenic and lead, that fencing will remain up. As soon as testing is done there and it's determined that those places are safe or they need to be remediated, action can be taken, either an interim action to clean those immediately and bring that fencing down, or there will be some sort of cleanup action taken if they do find some testing there. As they move through the cleanup process, it's also very likely that parts or the whole park will be closed for several days as they conduct testing and then remediation. But as long as there's no real big surprises, the fencing should remain mostly down.
Thank you, Christian. We do have a comment from our Superfund manager, actually, Jamie, who has also informed us that you could also reach out to DRCC and we could include your comment in our letter. So that is always an option. If you don't want to go through the hassle, because we understand how difficult it is, we do have that option of, you could submit your comment to us and we would be more than happy to submit that for you. And Jamie is on top of us. She is here watching. Thank you, Jamie, for watching our show today. There is a question, Christian, for us. And the question is, what do we write in a public comment? How does does DRC have any resources for this? All right, let's tackle the first one, Christian.
Okay. What do we put in our public comment? Well, oftentimes what we try to do is we're responding to something really specifically. So as I write this this comment letter, what we're going to be responding to is the public participation plan and the agreed order released by the Department of Ecology. So what we'll do is we'll really thoroughly and carefully read over whatever information is being released by ecology, and we are really looking for a thorough accounting of the very specific nature of the community that they're operating in. As an environmental justice community, there are really important considerations that and very special considerations that need to be taken when operating or cleaning up, remediating properties in our area. And so we believe that we really want to hold ecology accountable to things like the HEAL Act, the Healthy Environment for All Act, and making sure that our that we're being prioritized in the way that reflects the state's commitment to environmental and social justice. We want to make sure that that all of the parties that are responsible for this park are being held responsible and accountable to the community, and making sure specifically in the public participation plan that there is adequate opportunity for community engagement. So that's what we're going to be writing in this specific public comment, but that can really change depending on what we're commenting on. And so depending on the site specifically, we might have some concerns about the technical aspects of the cleanup. We might challenge some of the science in the cleanup, and we might offer our suggestions on how it could be improved or made better. And oftentimes what will happen is then ecology will, or whatever agency is reviewing our comment, will read our comments, will set up a meeting with us and potentially either change the plan or adjust based on our comments.
Perfect. Thank you, Christian. Did we kind of cover the second question already? Does DRCC have any resources? We did mention we have our website with that tab of resources of how to make a public comment. Again, just saying this over for folks that are interested in a public comment and need any type of support. DRCC is here for that. We could definitely support you if you want to create your own comment letter. Sorry about that. We do also had a question talking about governments involved in the cleanup. Christian, I know you mentioned a little bit about how this was a voluntarily cleanup before and now it's part of ecology. Is there any other government entities involved in this cleanup or, just in the process?
So moving forward, the two entities that will be directly and consistently involved in this cleanup will be the City of Seattle and Washington State Department of Ecology. Now, the Port of Seattle does own a small sliver of the park that's kind of along the shoreline. But the complicated nature of these sort of legal agreements can make negotiating with multiple parties very time consuming. And so the Department of Ecology has decided to name the City of Seattle as the only responsible party, and the City of Seattle will be responsible for remediating and cleaning up and maintaining the port sliver of this park. So those are the only two government entities that are directly involved in the cleanup.
Thank you for clarifying that, Christian. We have been talking about the comment period, and a little bit about, some of the history of how this park is to its state right now. Christian, I think it's really important for us to also to talk about the community that is within the area of this park. Many times when people just hear us talk about a park, they're like, why is so much information on just one park? Why is everybody so concerned? And you mentioned this at the beginning. South Park is actually in the Duwamish Valley within where the Superfund site is. And this means that there's not just a lack of resources, a lack of green spaces. There's also a lot to do with the air. So I know, Christian, you've been working also on some clean air program with DRCC. How can you link air quality, live quality, environmental quality to this park? Because for me, I feel like, at least in my eyes, it intersects a lot within one another.
Oh, absolutely. The quality of our environment is intimately linked with the quality of our air and the quality of our life. And it's a subject I'm really passionate about. But green spaces clean the air. We know that. That's our natural air filter, our plants and trees, and the more space that we dedicate to natural environments and sustainable ecosystems, the cleaner the air will be. As a near-port community, we're surrounded by airports, 2 airports. We have 3 freeways. We have a seaport. We have bus barns. We have 300 polluting industries all up and down the Duwamish River. And so these green spaces are vital moving forward to reclaiming this area, the Duwamish Valley, for people and not just for profit. And so I think that as we continue to reimagine the Duwamish Valley as a space that hosts everybody, and this river, we make this river, livable for everyone. What will happen is you'll see air quality improve as we green other spaces, not just the Duwamish Waterway Park, but it's linked to just, to reimagining how we treat our our planet and the space around us, right? And so
Mhm.
air quality and green spaces go hand in hand, and quality of life follows close behind that.
Of course. Thank you, Christian. I am also, again, pulling up the view of our website with a whole page of information about the Duwamish Waterway Park. We do have some information in Spanish. So, again, it's more of like not facts, but how would you call it? Like information updates that we've created for
Mhm.
this specific um, project, which is the Duwamish Waterway Park. One of the things I do want to share is some frequently asked questions. I think we might have covered most of them. These are in Spanish. Let me see if I could find the English version. Here we go. Oh, all right. Never mind. But I do want to let you know that in this website, if you click around like I am currently doing, you will find a ton of information that has more to tell about. We have a survey that we had a couple months ago that Christian pulled on fencing that we also included. So, just a lot of information here. There's a lot of history, as we mentioned, in this park. We have
Mhm.
previously done the Duwamish River Festival Park festival here, and it has, a lot of success. People have been asking about why we're not currently doing it at this site anymore. It is not because we don't want to. Again, we want to
Mhm.
say that we do want to use the space. It is very much needed for our youth, for our families. But again, it's not completely clean yet. So we are hoping to have that um, done as soon as it can. All right, Christian. I know we worked on this big flyer a couple weeks ago, but is there anything else from here that you really want to share with community? This is a great resources for any questions or any written information you want to have on the park, and for you to have and just to read over.
Absolutely. I would like to just re-explain to community that the park is open. It is available to use. Please use the park. I know it's been a long time since we've been able to, but we are working very hard to keep this park open. And moving forward, again, it would be wonderful if community could stay in sort of the loop and connected to this process. We really need communities' voices. It's essential that the city and the state hear from our community as to what we want and we need in our green spaces. And so I'm really hoping that as I can get the word out, as these community engagement opportunities become available, and we are going to try to host our own community engagement opportunities. So stay tuned because there's more to come.
Yes, this is something that we wish would end, but it's going to continue.
Mhm.
Some of the questions here that have been asked pretty often, so I'm going to just read them again. We have
Mhm.
answered some of them, and some of them we did not touch base. But again, this flyer is out here. One of the questions is who owns and operates the park. We discussed this already
Mhm.
about being the city of Seattle Parks and Recreation, and now also well, we'll continue with that. The other one, what happened and why is the park open? Christian talked about the fencing, talked about the sites that are still contaminated, and has talked about why the fencing is not on currently. So that process is still to continue. We also had what pollution is present at the park.
Mhm.
I don't think you mentioned this, Christian, but it's a little more technical, at least for myself. So unless you want to talk a little bit about it, we could just have this. It's on this flyer. And again, if you have questions, you could let us know.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
I think when we're talking about the pollution that's present at the park, it's important to remember that there has been a lot of work done on that already, and essentially moving forward, it's important that people understand that the park is for the most part considered safe for use. The parts that haven't been tested we're unsure about, but if it tracks the same way as the rest of the park, it's probably going to be safe for normal use. Now, what the real threat that pollution presents at the park is a threat to the Superfund site, and so that's the primary issue here.
That's correct. That's good to keep in mind. I think it's, something reoccurring that folks have this different perspective, and it comes align with this other question we have here is how do you stay safe at the park and the beach? We've always had questions about, exposure to the water from the river. Can I take a
Mhm.
swim? Can I, dip my feet in my toes in the beach area of the water? And again, like as we mentioned with the Superfund site, it's more of the sediment that has these contaminant, this pollution going on. So again, we leave this for you to have as a resource. Christian, is there any? I think there is your contact info right here. You could contact Christian via email with the email just christian@drcc.org, or you could always contact myself, which is maggie@drcc.org. And we would be more than happy to guide you through anything that includes the understanding of the cleanup process of the park, the understanding of the Superfund site and how it links. We could also talk about more of the comment period and how we could assist you with that, or just sit down and talk about the importance of this park for you and your family and your surroundings. So there's never a wrong reason why you can't talk to us about any issues with the park. And then again, I like to say this because some folks ask us, so when are you going to start cleaning the park? In
Mhm.
DRCC, we do not actually do the actual cleanup of the park. We are not trained and prepared at capacity for those kind of work things, but we are here to make sure that those that are at capacity do it the correct way. And we work with community as a liaison to bring that information to community and to government to make sure everyone's voices are heard. All right, before we close up, because Christian, unfortunately, time flies on the radio, as you may have seen. We are about a 5 minute time, but we do have a couple more things from our Superfund manager who is here. Jamie is asking about, are there any upcoming events where they could come in person or online to learn more about the Duwamish Waterway Park and other things of the river? Also, when does this comment period end?
Fantastic. Great question. So on March 8th, I believe it's a Saturday, we are having a gigantic come learn about the river fair. And there are links on our Facebook page, I want to say. I think if not yet, there will be. We will create an event for that. But yeah, we have that learning event coming up. And this particular comment period ends March 15th. So if you want to include your comments in the letter that I am writing, the sooner the better. But yeah, we'll be submitting that by March 15th.
Perfect. Thank you, Christian. I will be pulling up our calendar just to go over some events that we have coming up. They could be related to the park. They're also related just to DRCC. But before we say bye to Christian, I am posting our contact info right below in the screen. You can see Christian's email and my email. Feel free again to contact us for just even if you want to discuss what we talked about today or if you have other concerns. Other than that, thank you so much, Christian, for taking the time and being here at our radio show today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Have a good evening.
Likewise. Take care.
All right, folks. And now that we're back, after learning so much information from Christian, who was awesome discussing about the Duwamish Waterway Park, I do want to share some upcoming events. We do have already a packed February, which is great because after COVID, you all must agree with me that we definitely missed some of these social events. And what better than being educational, right? All right, so let me make sure for those of you that are just listening to me that you have also some information on these upcoming events. But those of you that are watching, you could see my screen coming up. I am pulling out our calendar. This is our beautiful calendar. There is some community meetings that already happened. And for those of you that celebrate Valentine's Day, that just happened last night. So hopefully you all had a great time with your friends and loved ones, surrounded with a lot of love to celebrate Valentine's Day. We do have a community capacity meeting on Thursday, which is the 16th, 6:30 p.m. You could contact us for more information on that. We do have upcoming in March one really important event that we want to discuss about today, which is our Duwamish River community meeting. There will be a lot of discussion, some activities. So we will be having child care and interpreters, and lunch will be provided. This event will be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on a Saturday on March 4th, 2003, which is this year. There's no need to reserve for the event, although we would like to have a head count. But some of the things we will be discussing on our March 4th event will be the Harbor Island, Lower Duwamish Waterway, the Duwamish Waterway Park, and South Park Landfill, also including the flooding. So all of these are really important topics that we wanted to bring more information in person. We have talked about, youth involvement in this meeting. Our youth are working on designing a cool platform, which I'm really excited for you to see how we're going to design this room. We do not have the site where we're going to have the event, but it's not listed on here, but it is the South Park Community Center. So unless we change that, you could find those changes here or on our Facebook page as well on the event RSVP site. Other than that, one of the other things we do have not coming up, but that I do want to RSVP or put it out there, we do have a landfill community meeting coming up March 22nd at 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. This is a physical meeting where we have a location. You can find this information in our website, in our calendar, which is just under news and events. And then you go the second tab, which is upcoming events. Another exciting thing, at least for myself, is that we do have a couple boat tours coming up. Really excited. We have had a long time without our boat tours. But guess what? Unfortunately, April 29th is already booked out. We have other dates, so feel free to sign up for those. You can find the link to that under drcc.org under news and events all the way to the bottom. That is our boat tour tab. Our next upcoming tours, we've decided to do 2 per day. So we have a AM boat tour and a PM boat tour. So the first AM ones all start 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Then we have our PM boat tour starting at 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. The next 2 dates we still have openings is May 6th, which is also a Saturday, and June 10th. All right. So the capacity for these boats, as you can see, it's right behind in this image. Admiral Jack is only for 25 people. So if you have time and you want to learn more about the Duwamish River, make sure you book or make sure you make an RSVP with us. The way you do that is you just continue scrolling down in this page. You could, if you're having trouble with this, you could always contact me. My email is listed here, and I would be happy to reserve you a spot or put you on our list. But what you come and do is you just type your name, your last name, you give us an email that we could contact you for confirmation or just for, purposes of instructions to how to get to this boat. And then you select the date you are requesting this for. So we still have May 6th and June 10th. Then you give us a number of how many people are in your party. So if it's just you, it would be a 1. If you're coming with a family of 5, you would put 5 people. After you do that, just the phone number and you submit. Once you submit, that will automatically come to our sheet of reservations. I will contact you directly via email to confirm that you are on our list. And then again, a week before the boat tours, I will confirm to make sure you are still attending. We do usually have wait lists for these boat tours. They are completely free. There are educational Duwamish River boat tours guided by DRCC staff. So you will have the privilege to spend a beautiful 2 hours with some of our staff and learn more about DRCC and the river. So make sure you sign up for a boat tour. They are really popular. We're hoping to have more in the future. And as we work along with the Maritime High School, continue to bring Admiral Jack into the Duwamish Valley. All right. And lastly, but not least, we do have really other exciting news, which is the Duwamish River Festival. Coming up, we have the Duwamish River Festival. We already chose a date. It will be in the upcoming August 5th of 2023. So if you want to learn more about, what we do in our festival, how to sign up, make sure you keep an eye out for emails and contact info and more information from us, your fam, DRCC. Other than that, that is all for today. We are really thankful you spent some time with us and had the opportunity to, um, work along some of these things. I am listing some information, some links here that we have had in the comments for those of you that want to read. Our DRC web page is really full of a lot of information. So I hope you all have the time to navigate through that and just, work with us on many of these programs that we have. All right, folks, that was it. It is now 1:01 p.m. on a beautiful February 15th sunny day. So I hope you take some time to go out and enjoy the sun. And we'll see you next week on February 22nd. Have a good day.
Amigos de Seattle Radio.